Right back, though.
Year and to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
We're trying to build the championship freaking football team right now.
Papa, I'm gonna show you how great I am.
In double digits. The old 1-0, baby, episode 10 of Fans of the West with your host,
Derf.
And what was the other one? Dylan. Oh, Dylan, that's right. Yep. All right. Sorry, I forgot the other half of that.
Oh, you've been doing so good for so lately.
I know, we were like really rolling there, and I dropped the ball. That's on me.
Oh, that's okay.
That's on me. Sorry, folks. It happens to the best of us. But, you know, this is the first week in, 2 weeks now? We get to talk about what happened to both teams in a game last week and look forward to a game next week for both teams. That's fun.
Yeah.
It's been very Seahawks heavy the past 2 weeks.
With good reason.
I mean, yeah. I mean, kind of had to be. Not much to talk about with the other one when they're on a bye week, but, you know.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are approaching that territory very quickly. I think it's this week, and then we have the Bucs in Germany, and then it's the bye week.
Ah, there you go.
So,
I think the Seahawks might be the only team that's taking the bye after an overseas game.
Is that true?
I don't know what I'm pretty sure. I don't know if the Jags and the Broncos are taking a bye this week.
Let's find out.
But I think the previous couple games, I think those teams, because it's optional now to take the bye week after an overseas game. I think those teams played the next week.
The Jags are, in fact, playing the Raiders this week. But I don't see the Broncos on here.
So they probably took a bye week, which they probably need because
they're in shambles.
They're a mess.
They're in absolute shambles. Bradley Chubb, before we get to that, we'll hit up our unofficial sponsor first. The unofficial sponsor of episode 10 of Fans of the West is going to be deadlines. Deadlines. Maybe you're still in school and your teachers give you deadlines. Maybe your boss at work gives you deadlines. But we all have deadlines. It's that thing that sneaks up on you for us procrastinators. We're just kind of hanging out thinking we got all the time in the world, and then bam! There's that sneaky little deadline. And then you're like, oh, I guess I should finally trade for that running back that I've been looking for. oh, I guess now is the time to go get Bradley Chubb because in about 30 minutes I'm not going to be able to. So, deadlines, it came, it went. Maybe you turned in your assignment, maybe you didn't. The Packers did not. They turned in their assignment late, so they will be getting an F for the rest of the season. Most likely. That's my guess, at least.
There's a good chance there, yeah.
I had a cold take today. I was just like, you know what? It's just not going to be that exciting. You know, it seems like the day of the deadline in the NFL has always kind of been, maybe one deal gets done and the rest are little smaller players no one really cares about.
Right.
No, that was a cold take today. The NFL popped off. We had Bradley Chubb go to Miami, which now Miami took the 3 first-round picks that they got from the 49ers. They turned one into Jalen Waddle, one into Tyreek Hill, and the last one now is Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, they really are doing something special down there. It's just unfortunate that the Bills are doing Bills things currently.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Pretty
Maybe
much.
they'll do something in the wild card.
You know what? I will welcome the Dolphins to make the wild card, but they're not taking the division.
I would love to see a Bills Dolphins AFC Championship game. It's possible, right? It has to be possible in some facet.
It probably could be possible.
Just depends on the seeding. But
Yeah. I think the Bills would have to. I think the Dolphins would have to get the 5 seed,
which is plausible for them.
which is plausible. But then they would. I think then they would need. So the Bills would have to get the 1 seed, which they have all intensive chances of getting. The Dolphins would have to get the 5 seed, but then they would need the 6 or 7 seed to upset a 3 or 4 seed.
Ooh.
Because then that puts the Bills playing the lower seed, which wouldn't be the Dolphins in the divisional. And then the Dolphins would have to upset the other higher seed to make the Bills AFC Championship game.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but it is
But
very
it's not
possible.
impossible.
There is a will. There is a way, so all they need is the will for it.
They need the will. The way is clear. You just need the will and need a lot of help. The Seahawks trade deadline. All right, that's the end of that conversation. Did absolutely nothing.
Oh man!
Which I tweeted out. I tweeted out my opinion, which I'm still excited for the season. We're doing obviously very well. I'm rooting for the team, but I tweeted out with the Seahawks doing nothing at the trade deadline, just kind of shows you that we're silently acknowledging that even if we do make a move, it's not going to matter. We're not a Super Bowl team right now. We're not going to be going to the Super Bowl. We might not even make a deep playoff push if we end up making the playoffs. So we're just going to sit tight, hang on to our draft picks, and we'll deal with it later. They decided not to get linebacker help. They decided not to get wide receiver or running back depth. They just sat where they are, which is I'm fine with because this was not supposed to be a special season anyways. It's just cool what's happening and we're enjoying it. So I'm okay with it. It's just, I feel like we're all on the same page here now that we didn't go out and make some splash move. If they went out and made some kind of splash crazy move, like they ended up with we got Bradley Chubb or something crazy like that, then it'd be like, oh wow, they're really buying into this. Like they really, okay, this is interesting now. Obviously we're not doing that. So.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the Seahawks trade deadline. The Bills had a little bit of action at the trade deadline, though.
Yeah, in the last half hour or so.
Yeah, it really came down to the wire there.
Couple moves there. Yeah, they picked up Naeem Hines from Indianapolis in a trade for Zach Moss and a 6th-round pick next year, which could turn into a 5th. I'm not sure what the condition is that makes it a 5th. I'm assuming probably some type of Zach Moss percentage of playing time, which I think the Bills could probably, if it's, if he plays more, it turns into a 5th. I could see it staying a 6th then.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. I feel like the only way Zach Moss gets playing time is if Taylor goes down with another injury.
Right.
I mean, I don't see.
Yeah.
He's not going to go in there and be a Nyheim Hines. He's not going to go out there and be a pass catching running back like Nyheim was.
Right.
That's not his style. So
Now, if the Bills had traded Devin Singletary away for Nyheim Hines, then I could see the pick going up because Devin Singletary is the more pass catching back than like how Nyheim Hines is, than Zach Moss ever was. So
I feel like that wouldn't even have been a fair trade. I feel like the Colts would have had to give. I feel like the Colts would have had to give the Bills a pick in that
probably.
Because I mean, like that's a number 1 running back for their number 2, so I feel like that's going to come with a pick.
Right.
Like they took Zach Moss, who's like a 3 right now. So
yeah, because he didn't play Sunday.
No.
And he wasn't a healthy scratch either.
Yeah, he was just
hanging out.
Just not there, yeah. Just doing Zach Moss stuff.
But yeah, so they picked up Nyheim Hines for a 6th round pick, and then they traded a 7th round pick for safety Dean Marlowe, who was previously on the Bills. I think from 2017 through 2020. Then he went to Atlanta and been there a year and a half, and then the Bills said, "Okay, come on back."
All right, we love you, man. Sorry about that. They addressed both things that we talked about on Twitter: running back and safety.
Yep.
It might have just been, it's not the big splash at safety that some people might have expected.
Right, but
I'm sure they made their phone calls. I would be curious about that. Like, did they call the Ravens about Chuck Clark? Did they call the Steelers about Minka? Who did they call? I'd like to know.
I don't think they would have called about Minka. But I also feel like the Bills don't need to make a big splash right now, even though as much as they're hurt in the secondary, I think things are looking up-ish for them. They definitely need some safety help, but the cornerback is getting much improved. So I don't see them. I don't see them making a big splash right at the moment. Granted, that could happen, end of November, maybe December. They make a big splash with another player, but I'll believe it when I see it when that one happens. So, trade deadline. They got some pieces they needed, but nothing. I don't know. I don't think this team needs a ton to go out and get some of these other big splash plays. Like the Dolphins need someone like Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
The Ravens need someone like Roquan Smith. I think also the big play that moved.
Because Miami also sent Chase Edmonds to Denver in that Bradley Chubb deal. So then they went out and got Jeff Wilson Jr.
Oh, yep.
So, I mean, Jeff is a very speedy guy. That was his claim to fame, is Jeff is just a very fast human being. Mm-hmm. So now you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jeff Wilson Jr. It's a lot of speed. And it's kind of like, that was kind of the claim for the Chiefs. I don't want to say the Dolphins are out here copying the Chiefs, but
sounds like it.
They literally have Tyreek Hill, so
it's probably true. So
I mean, they have a shorter quarterback. They have Tyreek Hill, who's just literally a copycat. You got Tyreek Hill, then you have like Tyreek Hill 2.0 with Jalen Waddle, and now you have a fast running back. I mean, it's
like almost like a cross between the Dolphins and the Niners.
Yeah. Well, that's because all of their running backs are former Niners as well, so that's helpful.
It's Wilson and Mostert, right?
Yep. And then they had Edmonds, I believe Edmonds was a Niner for a hot minute.
I thought he was in the Cardinals.
He was with the Cardinals, yeah. Yeah. So they're just flying through other teams' players who were the fastest. They're just like, what did this guy clock at? 4.4? Great, go get him. Trade, 5th round pick, get him.
Yeah. Get him now.
What did that guy run? 4.7? Nah, not quick enough. Not quick enough. So yeah, I mean, it was an exciting trade deadline. Some stuff happened.
Yeah.
It's a couple of them are important. I mean, the Ravens and the Dolphins making the 2 biggest splashes, I believe. Chase Claypool to the Bears means absolutely nothing. I don't want to hear anyone try to pretend like that's an important trade. But overall, fun time. I'll just take it with that. It was fun. So now we get to actually talk about the Seahawks a little bit, because they did sign Laquan Treadwell former first-round pick that was a bust for the Vikings, and he's bounced around a little bit. They signed him and released J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. That was their big move. So they did something. I don't know how important it is, but they did it. So let's see what we got here. We'll talk about a little bit of Week 8. We did go 2-0 on the fans of the West. That's always exciting when you get a nice 2-0 week here. The Giants came to Seattle. The Seahawks were 3-point favorites, and they ended up being 14-point favorites. They won 27-13, if my memory serves me. I'm pretty sure it sounds right.
Sounds similar.
The defense played out of their effing minds. The Giants' offense, especially in the fourth quarter, has been playing very well. Mainly Saquon Barkley, who has just been most games he averages over 4 yards a run. He's steamrolling folks. Danny Dimes, he got hotter as the game went on, but overall the secondary kept things minimal, and they held Saquon Barkley to 20 carries at, I think, 47 yards, and the only touchdown they had was the touchdown where Tyler Lockett fumbled inside the 2-yard line, and Saquon just kind of ran it in there. So I don't really count that. That's fine. It happens. But outside of that, held them pretty much scoreless other than field goals. Huge day for the defense. Absolutely massive day. So I guess I went into one of the things I talked about there, having a good year, but so was Barkley. So they had to contain Barkley and stop the run. They 100% stopped Barkley. DK still played, and he played well, had a touchdown catch, got wide open in the end zone for that first touchdown of the day. It was pretty crazy. Did not see too much of Goodwin. I guess that's because DK and Tyler both played, so, didn't need a whole lot of reinforcements there. I would have still liked to see him get more involved. I think he had 1-2 catches, but I just want to see. I want to see him more. I know you don't want to overuse your secret weapon. Maybe is that how they see him? I don't know, but every time he touches the ball, it just seems like something electric happens. He's so fast. I don't know why I feel like I'm the only person seeing this. It's very because Seahawks Twitter doesn't bring it up. I just see him touch the ball. I was like, oh, there goes number 11. He just it's like he's so fast. Kenneth Walker Jr. the third. He's just so good. He had a relatively quiet day because we all knew the Giants' defensive front was pretty strong, and we knew running the ball was going to be a tall task. But he did have an amazing touchdown catch or touchdown run. And I said catch because I started thinking about what DK Metcalf did on that touchdown run. He took a Dory Jackson on a field trip.
Nice.
On that, DK is down where Kenneth Walker ran in, and DK's, he's looking back at the quarterback, acting like it's going to be a throw, and then, he's just kind of walking, and he's like, oh, wait, he's going to throw, so he speeds up, and Adoree follows him, his back's to the quarterback, back to the play, and he puts out his arms like he just threw the ball like it's a fade, so Adoree's fighting him off, he's defending DK, while Kenneth Walker is already running the ball at this point. And then Geno steps up after handing the ball off, gets a seal block on the edge, which was just so cool. He just got in there and just bumped the edge so Kenneth Walker could bounce. He was going right, nothing there. So he jump cut, come back left. Geno gets the block. Dory Jackson's nowhere to be found because DK took him on a field trip, and he sheds another tackle and then strolls into the end zone. It was such a good run, but it was such a good team effort run too.
Right.
You'll love to see. This team is playing so well right now. So good. So good.
Playing like a team that wants to win.
Playing like a team, it's amazing what they can do when no one's trying to take the credit.
Yeah.
Famous quote by Tyler Lockett, who later cleared the air saying this was not about Russell Wilson, but he decided in the press conference to state, it's amazing what this team can accomplish when no one's trying to take the credit. Wow, what a statement. as soon as he said that, I feel like in his heart he was like, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that," because he knew that was going to get twisted, and it did.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, so both teams, the only ones with winning records, still stands. They both still have winning records. And Uchenna Nwosu, I believe he had a sack at the end of the game. They ended the game on back-to-back sacks, which was sweet, and Nwosu was one of them.
Nice.
And I believe Nwosu also punched out a fumble on Daniel at some point, I believe. Can't really remember, but he had a good game still. I mean, Nwosu by season's end, like even as it stands right now, I think Uchenna Nwosu being picked up as a free agent by the Seahawks was like a top 5 move in the offseason last year, like overall. Like
Right.
it has to be a top 5 pickup for a free agent across all teams. The way he's performing,
Yeah.
it's amazing what he's doing for this pass rush right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bruce Irvin as well. He also got some snaps this week. He tackled Saquon Barkley with Daniel Jones. It was hilarious. Yeah, Daniel Jones handed the ball off, and Bruce Irvin just like hit Daniel Jones and hit him so hard that he bounced him into Saquon, and Saquon fell down, and they tackled him. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Overall, it was a fun game. It was a little bit of a slugfest early on, and then the Seahawks ran away with it late, but it was a good game. The bet hit under 45.5, so the Giants games continue to go under. But yeah, we hit a bet. We did good. Let's
Nice.
move on over to some Sunday Night Football, shall we?
Sunday night football.
Sunday night. Been waiting all day for Sunday night. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh man, Packers came into Buffalo and didn't show up really much until late in the game.
The Packers did indeed show up for the game. They were there.
I saw other players that weren't Bills players on the field.
Oh, okay. You were assuming those were the Packers.
I assumed that
okay.
were the Packers. They could have been like a high school football team, but
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Pee wee football, you never know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to tell these days. These kids, they grow up so fast. They could have been in in 5th grade. Who knows?
Yeah, you see, you never know. But yeah, so the Bills did get the win, 27-17. It's interesting that the Seahawks and the Bills both scored the same amount of points.
Well, that just means the Seahawks are on the same level as the Bills.
There you go.
They're just as good as a football team.
Okay.
You look at the Seahawks and you look at the Bills and you're like, I can't tell the difference.
The pictures from the office.
Yeah,
These two pictures.
I'm gonna post that later. That's what we're gonna do. Just found the cover art for this podcast.
There you go. But yeah, so the Bills had their thing for the first half, and then had a pretty decent lead, leading 24-7 at halftime, and then gave up 10 more points in the second half and only put up 3 to take the win, 27-17. I'm a little disappointed in the Bills.
Me too. My overall takeaway was going to be the same.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, looking at my 3 things to watch, Aaron Rodgers versus the Bills secondary. The Bills secondary actually did a pretty decent job against Aaron Rodgers. Like, if Devontae Adams was on that team, they would have torched the Bills secondary, it seemed like. I think later in the game I noticed it more. Like, Kyer Elam was a little giving up a couple extra more yards, wasn't staying sticky to his receivers like he should have been. And, but that was, the Bills adjusting to the Packers' run game, because the Packers ran the ball like it was the only thing they knew how to do.
Yeah. And
the Bills had no answer for it. And Aaron Jones being one of the premier running backs in the league right now, like, it's a little shocking that the Bills couldn't stop him more than what they did. And yeah, I think that's what the Packers are going to lean on for the rest of the season, is just telling Aaron Rodgers to take his cane or his walker and just, hike the ball, turn around and hand it to Aaron Jones, because that's about all they can do right now.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I don't know if it was just the Bills not ready for such a heavy run game.
It could have been, yeah.
Like, I don't know if they just didn't game plan to see Aaron Jones so much, or if because we've seen the Bills in the past, not much this season, but in the past have issues with run defense.
Right.
I mean,
And
it's the first time
maybe-
we've seen it this year, though.
Yeah, because I think every other game they've done really well. Like, they shut down the Rams run game, shut down the Titans run game. Dolphins really didn't have much of a run game against the Bills. They contained Lamar Jackson and all the other running backs for the Ravens. Najee Harris didn't have a big game.
To be fair,
guess the
Najee
Bills-
hasn't had any big games whatsoever,
that's
in his
true.
entire career. So
Yeah, player comes out of another running back out of Alabama that should have high expectations and didn't pan out like Derrick Henry. Trying to think who else the Bills. I think that's. Oh, and then like Edwards-Helaire, didn't have a big game, nor did like Jerick McKinnon or whatever against the Bills for the Chiefs-Bills game. So it was a little shocking. But the other thing too is like I don't know if you guys could, like, anyone who was watching the game on the broadcast or something on NBC could see it, but to me at the game, it looked like Aaron Jones was already running at 15 mile an hour by the time he hit the line after getting the ball. Like it just seemed like he was running so fast where the Bills couldn't tackle him. And he was breaking these tackles that normally the Bills would be able to stop someone at the line of scrimmage, stop him for only a 2 or 3 yard gain. So I think that was a little bit of a shock, but I think the Bills can I'm sure they'll be better this next week or so, for the rest of the season. So
I mean, they did a good job of making the Packers offense one dimensional.
Yeah,
that one dimension was very successful, but they were still one dimensional.
200 yards rushing,
right.
But yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what coaches are looking for when you say make them one dimensional. I don't think that's what they're looking
Usually
for.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, but it's.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the Packers only got 10 more points out of that. Leaning so heavy on Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, AJ Dillon wasn't doing much.
No, they did a good job stopping him. Yeah, he didn't get much going. It was just Jones was just. I think he only came in when Jones needed a breather after ripping off a 30-yard run.
I will say the couple hits that Jordan Phillips laid on the running backs, you could hear it from my seat, and I'm in the 300s. It was that dude was laying guys out with his shoulder, just up next to him, and yeah, they probably took a minute to call that play, run that play again.
Yeah, I remember that one specifically where it just I remember watching it on TV. That Jordan Phillips was just standing there, and from the angle on TV, it just looked like Aaron Jones literally just ran into Jordan Phillips and did a backflip just from getting hit by him. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, real quick, Trey Wright was not active for the game. He did get activated today off the PUP list, so that is good. So he is a part of the 53-man roster right now. Built in some other moves, but some insignificant players got moved around off the practice squad, on the practice squad.
Well, that's rude
and whatnot. So
insignificant. Everybody's significant, friend.
But lesser names of people who have, you know what I mean. Everyone matters.
Everyone matters. Not in football.
So yeah, so I don't think Trey White will be back for the Jets game. I don't think he'll play the Jets game, but I think he is. Maybe we're looking at Vikings here, which
That'd
I think
be a good time to come back.
It could be a fun one because the Vikings look pretty good right now.
Yeah.
So the other, and then my last third thing to watch was Bills lull on offense after the bye week, and I feel like I kind of caught that one a little bit. They did what they had to do.
Yeah.
But they should have been more efficient in the second half.
Yeah, the second half was
And-
bad. Just overall,
and
it was bad.
I think that's what sparked the Nyheim Hines trade, honestly, because they leaned on Devin Singletary a lot, and it seemed like as soon as he broke through the line, he was getting tackled by shoestring tackles. Like there's no reason why Devin Singletary couldn't have broke a couple of those tackles. And anytime they put James Cook in there to give Singletary a break, like James Cook, I think is going to be the number one running back on this team very soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're saying come the 2023 season, Devin Singletary might not be a Bill?
He might not be a Bill.
Interesting.
I think we could see Nyheim Hines and James Cook
Okay.
as the top two running backs for sure. I think Nyheim Hines is Singletary's replacement, and they just gave the Colts Zach Moss because the Bills weren't using him anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting rid of Zach Moss was completely fine. That's not. I didn't even know that was part of the trade until someone had told me. Like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Cool. Who cares?
I'm a pretty big fan of James Cook right now. I'm liking what he's showing. He's definitely got the speed, and that's what the Bills need for sure. So
he got a little bit more physicality to him than Devin.
Yeah,
which they desperately need.
Which is odd because like Devin Singletary broke out so well last year, towards the end of the season, but this year he's not making the big play like he should.
Yeah, big issue.
Mm-hmm. Quick here. Other points. How many times will Von Miller sack Aaron Rodgers? I think he might have not had a sack against him.
I didn't hear Von Miller's name get called.
I remember hearing Rousseau.
Yes, Rousseau got a sack and almost had two if it wasn't for the offsides.
Yep. I don't think Von Miller had a sack. Von Miller played a lot of containing the line of scrimmage and tackling running backs.
Yeah, he had 2 tackles, 1 solo, and that was pretty much his night. I mean, he did a lot of stuff that is off the stat sheet, put it that, like you said.
Right.
A lot of containing, a lot of just doing his job on the edge.
Yeah. So, Von Miller did the other part of what we paid him for to do. So, I'll take it.
As long as Rousseau's out there, like the Young Bucks are doing stuff.
Yeah.
That's the Miller impact.
Rousseau was a good draft pick last year.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that one. And then the other point here was Josh Allen's MVP journey. Probably took a little bit of a hit with those 2 lame duck interceptions that he threw for no reason. But he definitely, listening to his post-game press conference, he definitely he put them on himself. Like, watch out, Jets defense, because he might light them up, literally on fire. With him, the way he sounded like he was mad at himself for how he played, which is understandable because he did play a little bit like dog.
Yeah, I think Geno Smith just passed Josh Allen in the MVP race after those 2 INTs.
It's very possible.
Yeah, you don't see Geno throwing 2 interceptions a game. It's not a thing. Josh Allen, well, you never know. Guy's too wild out there.
Usually when he throws 2 interceptions, it's accompanied with 4 touchdowns and 400 yards. But
well, okay, but no.
And then last for the Bills Packers game, my favorite bet, unfortunately did not hit at Bills minus 10.5 because they only won by 10.
Wah, wah. And the over didn't hit either because of Crosby missing that field goal.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people's, Vegas made a call, I think. They're like, hey, you guys, they told the Bills, hey, you can't score here because that'll push the 10.5. And Mason Crosby has to miss this field goal or else that'll push the over. So, it's I'm telling you what. Man, It's very exciting times. And you know how it gets more exciting? Because that was only week 8.
Mm-hmm.
We have another week of football.
Yeah.
And another one after that, another one after that, another one after that. It just keeps going for a very long time. That's what I love about it. We're entering week 9.
Mm-hmm.
And the Seahawks, unfortunately, have to make the yearly travel to State Farm Stadium. They have to go play the Cardinals, per usual. They're kind of like contractually obligated as a football team to travel to Arizona and put their team's lives at risk to play on this field.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks open up as 2-point underdogs, which is it's relatively understandable. They have DeAndre Hopkins back now for the Cardinals. He's been kind of popping off, so I could see why the books might think that Seattle could open up as underdogs. I don't know. They just beat them like 3 weeks ago. I don't know how one player makes that big of a difference, but I guess we'll see.
Right.
So my first thing to watch here is like the main point I wanted to bring up is like I just said, they have to go to State Farm Stadium. This is the same exact stadium that all three, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and Earl Thomas, the famous, like Pete game, with Earl Thomas after he broke his leg. Those are all 3 injuries, virtually career-ending injuries that those 3 players suffered. Richard Sherman kept playing, but he was never the same. Cam, big neck back injury, done. Earl Thomas, he played for the Ravens, but again, not the same.
Right.
So pretty much career-ending. They had that absolutely dreadful 6-6 tie back in 2013 where Marshawn Lynch flipped off Darrell Bevell. Awesome moment. And then it was obviously where the Super Bowl was played when that happened. I think we all know what we're talking about.
Run the ball.
Run the damn ball. So there's a lot of bad history here in this stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's really I want everyone to leave healthy. If the Seahawks for some reason are just winning by 40 at some point or losing by 40, pull the starters as fast as possible. Like, don't play people out there longer than they need to, because I just don't need to see someone tear an ACL this week. I don't need it.
Right.
I don't need an Achilles to bust. So
I think to put a positive spin on this, on your whole State Farm Stadium,
I need something
predicament.
Positive.
This is the game. Was it last year? That was the DK Metcalf rundown of Buda Baker.
Yeah, that did happen.
So that happened at the Cardinals' home field. So, good things do happen sometimes. We get. It was
still an interception, but I mean, I could.
But still, Buda Baker didn't realize that the big old DK Metcalf could catch him. So
probably
now
one of the coolest plays in NFL history.
Now the Seahawks have 2 fast receivers that could technically probably catch one of their safeties, because Marquise Goodwin is he's pretty quick.
He's very fast, but he's not as intimidating as DK catching up to you. It's like almost like, like turning around and seeing DK chase you down is almost like if Michael Myers learned how to run and not just like slow walk, you're like, okay, it's Michael Myers. I'm just going to run away from him because all he does is walk. And then you turn around and he's like sprinting at you like, holy fuck. Like, that's kind of like what if that probably felt like for Buda. You see Marquise coming after you, you're like, oh, I guess he's going to catch me. Oh, well. Dude's like 6 foot and 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So I just want everyone to stay healthy. Result of the game be damned. Please just stay alive. Getting into the actual game, going back to why the Cardinals are probably favorites in this game, is going to be Tariq Woolen making a strong case for his defensive rookie of the year candidacy, because he's going to be going up against DeAndre Hopkins. I'm sure a lot of the secondary at some point is going to see DeAndre because he likes to move around. I don't think Tariq's not really much of a shadower, so I would like to see him on him when he has to be. But, that's kind of the whole point of the purpose here. I want to see Tariq shut down Hopkins when he's on him. I want them to have to move DeAndre Hopkins around so that he's not on Woolen. That itself will be a very strong case for Woolen. But, it's going to be about, it's the famous cliche, let someone else beat you. don't let Hopkins be the one that beats you. Don't let him get 200 yards receiving. Don't let him break tackles. No yards after the catch, no touchdowns. Shut him down as much as you possibly can. You have to, because he's got week 3 legs right now. Because he's had a suspension. This is week 3 for him. He's feeling good still. It's going to be tough, but just mitigate it. And then if Rondale Moore is going to beat you, I guess Rondale Moore beats you. That's just what it'll be. But I don't think that'll happen. This defense has been playing outstanding. It's just going to be a matter of shutting down DeAndre. Last but not least, Geno versus popularity awards. I guess this is kind of just, Geno keeping up his stats to stay in the MVP race, just like you say, Josh keeping his MVP race going.
Yeah.
And I saw someone say the only reason Geno's not being very seriously considered in the MVP race is because of his nameplate. I would argue against that. Like the fact that this is Geno Smith, and he's ranked in the top 3 of most of the important QB stats, QBR, passer ratings, TD and interception.
I think he's only behind Allen and Mahomes.
Yeah, he's like right there with everyone. The only thing he doesn't have is yardage, which I think he ranks 8th in yardage. The guy is just playing outstanding football for a team that no one expected to be where they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So I just want to see him do what he did to the Cardinals the first time. Pick them apart, maybe score more than 16 points this time. Let's maybe go for 20. That'd be fun. Score a little bit more, but overall, just keep doing your thing. Don't turn the ball over. Make good throws. Just keep being Geno. Just keep it going.
There you go.
Just one quick other point here. Kyler is 0-1 since the new Call of Duty came out. So
Shocker.
We're going to be trying to go for 0-2 here. He's grinding those gold guns right now. He ain't watching film. This dude ain't ready.
Oh, man.
The coach calls him up. He's like, hey, Kyler, are you looking at your playbook? He's just like, the playbook says DeAndre Hopkins is open. We're good. And then he hangs up the phone. Who is the wide receiver? Says I'm always like A.J. Brown says I'm always open. He put the open sign in his locker. Like that's pretty much what that's Kyler and DeAndre. He's out there somewhere. Intercepted. Oh well, that sucks. Oh well, on to the next one. And then my favorite bet, our betting segment, always brought to you by BetUS. You can use promo code OOTF because I'm too lazy to change the promo code when you make your deposit for 125% deposit bonus at BetUS. BetUS. If you're in the U.S., you can bet on sports with BetUS. I have under 50.5. I found this a very high number for just having a 16 to like whatever the other score was. That was extremely low the first time they played. I found this a very weird opening line, so I'm taking the under, but I feel like they know something. It's weird. So I feel like they're fooling me with this number. I'm still going to take the under. And then Seahawks money line plus 100, straight up even money. I'm taking it. I feel like plus 2 ain't worth taking. Let's just go for it. Seahawks are going to sweep the Cardinals this year, and it's going to be so sexy.
That'd be real nice. I'd keep them in first place.
Yeah, it'll be 6-3.
Yeah.
Oh man, 6-3. What is 6-3 will put them above any win total that anyone gave them this season.
I don't remember what we predicted them as.
I put them at 4.
I think I gave them a couple more than you did.
Like 4 or 5, maybe 6.
I thought it was in the 6 to 7 range.
Oh, okay.
So
you were very optimistic.
Apparently I was, yeah.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I did not think this season was going to be anything like this.
Right.
So I apologize to Geno and Pete Carroll and John and everyone. The one thing I did get right was this was the first year that I was excited that they drafted a running back, because they keep drafting running back. Every year they draft running backs, and everyone's just like, why the hell do we keep drafting running backs? This was the first time I was like, this seems like a good choice. And look where we are now.
There you go.
I'll take my credit now. I didn't get a lot of things right this offseason about the Seahawks, but that's the one I'll walk away with. So then we
Very
enter Bills territory. They get to play New York versus New York, huh?
It's the Bill. It's a New York team going to New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. Do you remember the actual NFL social media team posted a graphic that said New York teams are, and they posted the Bills,
Right.
Jets, and Giants records.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox comments on it and being like, only one of those is a New York team. They literally changed the graphic and split it in half. And it was like New York Bills, New Jersey, and then they showed the Jets and Giants. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, so the Bills are going to East. We're going to the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, to take on Zach Wilson and Zach Wilson's mom's friend and the New York Jets.
Whoa. Throwing some shade at the MILF Master here. Oh, my God. All right. They just took a hard loss to the Patriots.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier.
You know, I saw a tweet on Sunday night when we were at the Bills game. That actually my brother-in-law had shown me that Zach Wilson is the equivalent of Patrick Mahomes running around the field throwing footballs blackout drunk.
You know what? Yeah. It's almost like he wants to beat Patrick. He runs just like him. He just, all right, here we go. Here's a cool sidearm pass. Oh, shit, that's the wrong color jersey. Yeah. Okay. I like it. I also heard that Zach Wilson is very distracted right now because Giselle is now available, so he's just full in on the Giselle. He's just all up in those DMs. He's trying to just sneak his way in there.
I mean, I bet if Zach was, played for a couple more years and had, a somewhat positive career, and Giselle said, "Hey, I think you should retire now," he'd probably say, "Okay, yep, done,
100%."
Here's my jersey, here's my papers. See you later, Jets.
He'd be mid-game at halftime. He checks his phone. All right, you go ahead and retire, and he would be pulling who was the Bills player.
No, Avante Davis.
Yeah, Vontae Davis. Yeah, he'd be pulling a half. Good luck, guys. White, you're in. Whatever his name was, Zach White or
Mike White.
Mike White, you're in, bud. See ya. I'm heading to Florida.
Oh. So the Bills are they're 12.5-point favorites.
Whew.
So
Big
it's
number.
pretty steep.
Big number.
That's a big one. I don't know if there's any other games that are that steep this week. But so my three things to watch. I'm looking at the Bills pass rush versus Zach Wilson's efficiency. Can the Bills ultimately just make Zach Wilson uncomfortable all day? I think they can. But that's obviously something I'm going to keep an eye on. I want to see what Von Miller and Epinesa and Rousseau and, Jordan Phillips and Ed Oliver and company can get that done or not. But I think the Bills are going to have success at only rushing 4 and not having to bring that fifth person very often, which I think is going to make Zach Wilson second guesses, maybe his first read, second read, which makes him hold on the ball longer. And then, here comes Von Miller and just drags Zach Wilson to the ground.
Not too hard though.
Not too hard.
You got to be gentle.
But he's gonna grab him by the arms. He's gonna hold him in one arm, get the blanket, get the pillow down on the ground. Gently lay him down, tuck him in, make sure he
Turn
can't
on the
go
sound
anywhere.
machine.
There you go. Get the bedtime story out
Yep.
and read it real nice and soft, so the Zach Wilson fall asleep, and then the play will be over.
Yep. It's so good.
Oh. So yeah, I'm thinking the Bills are going to have a lot of success against Zach Wilson. I know there's been a lot of talk with national media that Zach Wilson has been doing a lot better this year than I think he has been. But then you just saw the Patriots game.
Yeah,
So
that kind of hurt that narrative a little bit.
That I think it was all a false front for Zach Wilson. I think
Like, I really thought this team was going to be better, but I mean, I'll defend the Jets a little bit.
Right,
they have lost several offensive linemen to injury already. Mm-hmm. They lost Breece Hall.
Yep.
Robinson, I don't even know if he played on Sunday. If he did, I did not notice if he did.
I think he was active. I don't know if he played much at all. Because I think I still kept James Robinson, even though he got traded to the Jets.
Elijah Moore does not want to play football for the Jets.
That is true.
Zach Wilson doesn't want to throw the ball to him, even if he is playing.
Right.
The whole thing's a mess right now. Things have fallen apart since week one for the Jets.
Yeah.
So I think the overall trajectory for the Jets season is about to take a strong nosedive. And we obviously saw that against the Patriots, and it's not going to help versus the Bills. And I could easily see the Jets just 100% falling apart for the rest of the season.
I could see that.
They just took one too many hits.
Yep. So that was the first point there with the Zach Wilson, the Bills pass rush. Second point here is looking to see if the Bills offense can be more efficient for all 4 quarters of the game, and not necessarily let up in the second half with a lead. I think they didn't necessarily let up in the second half. They just changed their game plan a little bit, which made it more conservative, and they didn't have a huge lead against the Packers, and the Packers did creep back up a little bit. It's not like the lead that they had against the Steelers or the Titans, where they were just kind of like, hammer down and then you pull Josh in the fourth quarter. Like those kind of games, yes, you can let up in the fourth quarter, not a problem. We'll let Case Keenum finish the game. But against I was a little nervous against the Packers because I was like waiting for Aaron Rodgers to do Aaron Rodgers things. That was his, MVP level for the last 2 years. And
if Crosby hits that field goal,
and then they only need a touchdown, so then they're onside kicking.
Like it creeps into your head like, ooh, this game ain't over yet.
Right.
Obviously, he misses. We don't have to worry about it. But like, if he does,
yeah. So I want to see the Bills' offense be more efficient. I think they're going to be against against this just defense. I think they'll have a little bit more success running the ball than they did against the Packers, and I think the passing game shouldn't have too much of an issue. Which actually brings me to my third point, which is Stephon Diggs versus Sauce Gardner, and I think Diggs is going to be dropping Sauce everywhere because he's going to leave him in the dust.
Sauce. Did you come up with that on the spot, or were you just ready for that line? Did you
No, that was right off the tongue.
That's awesome. Dropping Sauce. Like if Diggs does go off against Sauce, we're making that T-shirt. I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna get someone to do the graphic. It's gonna be awesome. Be cool.
I did see like the tweet from Sauce Gardner, I think earlier today or was it yesterday, that he says that he can completely take Stephon Diggs on by himself in man coverage. I think he's got an eye-opening experience coming for him because Stephon Diggs is one of the best route runners in the NFL, and will leave him sitting there wondering where did he go this weekend. So I'm very much looking forward to Stephon Diggs having a multi-touchdown game here, over 100 yards receiving, and them moving Sauce Gardner to a different receiver because they don't want to get him embarrassed anymore.
Like Stephon Diggs just like ran out of the tunnel talking trash to Jair Alexander and pooped on Jair Alexander.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of.
You are Sauce. Like right? I know you're a good rookie, but like Like, stand down, son. Stand down.
Yeah.
Like, know who you're talking to. Good God. Signed
So,
his
yeah.
death warrant.
Other points here, just with the recent trade today, will Naeem Hines be active for Sunday's game? I think there's a good chance. And we saw literally Christian McCaffrey be active for the 49ers 2 days later after he got traded. So I'm sure they can keep it simple for Naeem Hines to be able to be a game, supporter or contributor that I was looking for. And then, if we do see Naeem Hines, in action with the ball, I think it begs the question: is it put more pressure on Singletary or Cook? I tend to think it's more pressure on Singletary, which I kind of we talked about a little while ago. So I think it opens the door for James Cook to, potentially take that number 1 spot in the depth chart, at the end of the year. I think this could be. I think Naeem Hines isn't a RB1. I think him as an RB2. But I think this is him and James Cook. I think would be a great tandem for running back. So, I think we've seen Devin Singletary for a couple of years now. He's had some moments, but kind of like what you and I and our buddy talked about over the weekend, like he hasn't had a touchdown yet. And I did make the mistake of starting him over Aaron Jones and left 9 points on my bench, but I still won by like 40 points anyway, so it didn't really matter. But
you're good.
So I was good, but I was like, if I lose by 8 points or 9 points because I benched Aaron Jones and started Devin Singletary thinking he was going to have a good game, like I had a feeling Singletary almost broke it for a touchdown, but like I said, it's those shoelace tackles that he could not break, and like the Packers just knew how to grab his foot, and that was it. So I do think Singletary is probably on his way out. I don't think he'll have a problem finding another spot on another team. I think he still has upside. He does have good receiving back quality, but that's why they just traded for Naeem Hines, because Naeem Hines is one of the best in the league. As a receiving back. So it'd be interesting. I'm so excited to see what happens, for the rest of the season, to see how this running back drama, you would say, or how it plays out. So
yeah,
that shall be fun. And then favorite bet here, I'm doing a little combo bet here, a little 2-leg parlay. Bills minus 12.5, and taking the over of 47.5 points total. So both of them together in a parlay actually are paying out at plus 203.
Over 47.5. So I'm going to go with the Bills get 45, and then they allow a field goal to the Jets late, which pushes it to the over.
That's kind of what I'm feeling, because I don't think the Bill I don't think the Bill is trying to give up like 17 points to the Jets.
You wouldn't like to think so.
They might give up like 6 to 10. Is
James Robinson breakout game incoming?
Nah,
probably not.
Probably not. But not with that offensive line for the Jets being that banged up.
Yeah.
But I can see the Bills putting up 40. I would like to see a good 42 burger.
I mean, like you said, like they've already dropped 41 on the Titans earlier this year.
Yeah,
I feel like the Jets are worse than the Titans.
Yeah.
So
the question is, can the Bills stay on the gas long enough to get there? Because as soon as they start pulling starters, they're maintaining the score, and that's it.
Yeah, like if they're already up like 34 or 35 to 3 or 7, then
right.
Yeah, the gas comes off, and now you're at risk of missing the over.
And now you're under. So I thought about taking the under because of that situation, but I'm feeling feisty, and I'm taking the over on that one.
Feeling feisty. And maybe it's a James Robinson breakout game. You never know.
You never know.
It's any given Sunday, except this Sunday, the Jets ain't winning. But maybe the over hits. Any given Sunday, the over can hit.
There you go.
I believe that's all.
I think so.
I don't think I got anything else to really talk about. I'm just excited for another week of football.
Yeah, buddy.
Maybe the Seahawks can win 4 in a row. sweep the Cardinals. The Bills can have a couple of wins in a row after their bye week. Everyone's just feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
Loving life. All right. Well, that was episode 10 of Fans of the Weast. If you want to follow us, we actually have a handle now on YouTube. You have YouTube handles now. So literally YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, any social media platform, all of them are now at Derf and Dylan. You can always find Fans of the Weast on your favorite podcasting platform, whichever one you so desire to listen to. I am your host, Dylan.
And Derf.
And we're your hosts,
Derf.
and Dylan. That's how you're supposed to say it.
That's how.
That's how it's supposed to go.
Oh.
And go Hawks.
Go Bills.